okay, let's put this into context, Jake Mintz. Um, Nick Kurtz, the first baseman for the A's of Yolo County,
YOLO.
had a decent little ball game on Friday evening.
Nice day
Now
out.
let's set the stage. Who is this man? Who's man's? By the way, the A's mopped the Astros, okay? And we're gonna get to that in a second, but we're gonna focus on Kurtz because I know I did tweet that it was the most stunning mop of the season, which I stand by because this is still an A's team that ranked 29th in ERA coming into the weekend and doesn't have a lot of pitching, and they outscored the Astros 32-7. I know the entire Astros team's on the IL. They're going through it. That's fine. Still on the road, winning 4 games in a row is hard. But let's talk about Friday. So here's the thing. It's not like Kurtz is a total nobody. He was the 4th overall pick last year. He had one of the most, honestly, accomplished college careers of the 21st century at Wake Forest. He was also one of the best hitters in baseball for the last 2 months. And I wrote a feature that went up 2 hours before he went 6 for 6 with 4 home runs. And I made the point after he won AL Player of the Week, hey guys, he's actually been slugging nearly 800 for 2 months now, and we should probably be paying attention to this. Now, did I expect him to have one of the greatest games of baseball history? No, but the timing certainly worked out.
Hell yeah.
This dude has been on fire. He has, now, because Jacob Wilson exists and is hitting 350 for most of his rookie season and was the starting shortstop of the American League in the All-Star game, it was like, oh yeah, they also got this Kurtz guy. Wow, cool, young Kurtz. Like, no, hold on. Kurtz is not just having a good rookie season. He's having one of the greatest rookie months ever in July. This is all before he goes 6 for 6. Okay, this is all already true. And then what he does on Friday was preposterous. And yes, the last home run was against Cooper Hemmel. And yes, he was not facing the best Astros pitchers by any stretch. But he had proven what he was capable of leading up to this game against some great pitchers. And then it just all came together in an individual showcase of power to all fields that was just jaw-dropping.
Nick Kurtz played his final college baseball game 421 days ago. This has all happened supremely quick for him. If you go to his Instagram, his profile picture is still him on Wake Forest, probably because he hasn't thought to change it because it's only been a year. That he has elevated into this quickly is something that none of us saw coming. It was always his ceiling just because of his power. Power was always there. But coming out of college, man, like, there were real concerns. He had never hit with wood. Do you remember that narrative? It was like, Nick Kurtz is an aluminum merchant. He can't use lumber.
Well, so I actually want to address that because that's also related to the other part of the Kurtz story. And now, first on your point about how fast this has happened, my favorite part of the story I wrote is talking to Brent Rooker about this. Now, Brent Rooker was also a legendary college player, and it took him 6 years to become anything of relevance in the major leagues with multiple organizations, right? He was not a top 5 pick, but he was still a early pick and a prospect that you would think if he was that advanced and he was dominating college that it would maybe come together. And this quote from Rooker just sums it up. He said, I was a very, very good college player. If you had thrown me in the big leagues at 22 years old, I would have had absolutely no chance. And that sums it up. That doesn't just speak to Nick Kurtz. It speaks to Jacob Wilson. It speaks to guys like Lawrence Butler. It speaks to all these other young hitters, even Soderstrom, right? They have so many young hitters that are just remarkably advanced and impactful that gives them hope. Now, we don't have to have the whole big conversation about who's rooting for this guy. Again, it's just still so weird to talk about A's players. I don't know. Is Sacramento, of course, excited to watch this guy? Of course they are. Is Vegas thinking about Kurtz? I have no idea. But I want to get back to what you said about the aluminum and, oh, no, he couldn't hit with wood. Because I talked to him about this. This didn't make it in my story. But it's because he was always injured. And this is also part of, as we continue to track Kurtz moving forward, he didn't play in the summer because he had, I believe he's had surgery on both shoulders. The reason he stopped pitching in high school is because he had a labrum injury on his left shoulder. And then he had a right shoulder injury his freshman year that prevented him from playing after that summer. Then he broke his rib at the end of his sophomore year. As we remember, he was unable to play in the College World Series. That prevented him from playing on Team USA after that sophomore summer. And then obviously after his junior summer, he was already drafted. So he was obviously always working with Wood in the offseason behind the scenes. But yeah, he did not have stats in a summer league or with the collegiate national team. That said, I mean, you watch him take batting practice. It's unbelievable. Like he is, we talked about this when we talked about the Derby. Guys that can go to the opposite field where it looks they're hitting it as far as you can pull a ball. That's when you know they have ridiculous juice. And we saw that on display even with the Crawford boxes. The balls he was hitting to Houston over the weekend were ridiculous. They would be balls that for right-handed hitters, like, man, he crushed that. You see it in BP, you see it in the games, and it's a hell of a bat to build around. And yeah, he's striking out a ton, which I think he's going to kind of figure out how to cut down, at least to some degree. But when you're making this amount of impact when you are connecting with the ball, it's fine if you're striking out 28, 38% of the time.
A's mop the Astros. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about the rest of the series. They just kicked their butt. 32-7 combined score. Astros are all hurt. I do, before we take a break, I would like to talk about Nick Kurtz's nickname, the Big Amish.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to talk about the Big Amish for a number of different reasons. Number one, why? Why the Big Amish? Answer, Nick Kurtz is from Lancaster, not Lancaster. That's the most important thing here. Lancaster County. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania has the single largest Amish population in the world. Approximately 45,000 Amish, I guess it's just Amish folks live in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Okay? There's approximately 6% of the county's total population. Pretty significant. If you've ever driven in and around Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you've seen them. You've seen the Amish with the buggies bugging around. Now, Nick Kurtz, importantly, not Amish.
No.
Not
No.
Amish. So my first thought about this was, that's kind of like calling me the big Puerto Rican in a way. Like I'm not that. Like, or like Dave Parker, who wore the Jewish Star of David. Like, we didn't call him the big Jewish guy. So is there something offensive maybe here about calling Nick Kurtz the Big Amish? And I thought, and I chewed on it, and I thought about it, Jordan, and then you know what I realized? Amish don't know. You're not listening to the pod.
That's the thing.
Do they do pods?
I don't think they are. And if they are, maybe they're proud of him. I don't know. I have no sense for it. Clearly, Kurtz has embraced this to some degree. I know some of his Wake Forest teammates. Yeah, they're churning butter.
This?
I mean,
they have a butter churning celebration.
Yeah. I mean, I also love this because this getting in the broadcast calls of all these home runs was absolutely the first exposure to this nickname for 99% of people. And I love that they had to be like, I'm sorry, what did they just call him? Like, what was that? Did I hear that correctly?
Kurtz raises a barn. See ya.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, hey, I got plenty of horse and buggies out here in Ohio too, but not as many as in Lancaster. That is they, as you mentioned, those numbers are pretty staggering. Anyway, we'll see if that nickname catches on.